What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Lauren. Today I have another What's for Dinner for you guys. You really seemed to enjoy it last time, and I wanted to give you another 5 recipes. So let's start right with Monday. Monday I made some grilled turkey burgers, and I'm starting out by just cutting up some potatoes. I don't really like French fries that much, so I just figured I would roast some baked potatoes. These are tri-color potatoes. There are some yellow potatoes, regular yellow potatoes in here, some red potatoes, and then some purple potatoes. I just put those on a baking sheet and put some vegetable oil on them, and now I'm going to start to season them up. I got some fresh minced garlic, some seasonal. I'm also going to add some garlic powder as well as some onion powder and some freshly ground black pepper. So I'm just going to toss all of that up with my hands, spread it back out, and then put it in a 400-degree oven for it to roast. To go with our burgers, I needed some type of vegetable, and I really like zucchini because it's really easy to cook up and saute, and it's really tasty as well. So I'm just chopping that up. So as I mentioned, I'm using ground turkey to make our burgers, and I just put some ground turkey in a bowl, and then I'm going to beat up 1 egg, and that's going to help my ground turkey burgers bind and not really fall apart. I'm also going to add in some panko breadcrumbs because they're small enough to really dissolve into the ground turkey, and you won't taste like big bits of them, just like if you were using bread. So that's why I like using the panko breadcrumbs. And then I'm going to season up my ground turkey with some onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, and season all, which is the same exact thing I just used to season my potatoes. After this, I'm just going to separate the meat into 2 sections, and then I'm going to use my hands to form 2 patties. And in order to keep the patties separate, I'm going to place them on a paper towel so that they'll stay in that patty form until I'm ready to cook them. I put a little bit of vegetable oil in a small pan, and I'm just going to go ahead and cook my turkey burgers and make sure that they get a nice even crust on each side. And then I'm going to top the burger with cheddar cheese, or you can use whatever cheese you like, but I prefer cheddar. So this is the meal and how it turned out. Really simple, really easy, and such a classic dish. It's Tuesday night, and this was my all-time favorite dinner recipe of this week. I highly recommend it. I made teriyaki turkey over rice, and it was amazing. So I just chopped up some fresh ginger, and then I'm also going to chop up some shredded carrots, and I'm just making sure that I chop these up very, very finely. I don't want it to be big pieces, but it's just the easy way to get vegetables into the recipe. I'm also going to do the same thing with some fresh broccoli florets. And if you have like picky eaters at home that won't eat vegetables, this is the perfect way to kind of like hide veggies into this recipe because you can barely see it in the finished product. I'm also chopping up some scallions, and that's going to be our garnish. I already had a pan heating up on medium heat, and I added some sesame oil to the pan because it's really going to aid in that authentic Asian flavor. I've told you guys once before, I love sesame oil, and it's just something that I must have in my pantry at all times. And then I went ahead and added the veggies in as well, and I'm just giving those some time to cook down before I add in my ground turkey. So I'm just chopping up my ground turkey very small so that it can be like very small crumbles. And I'm gonna add in a little bit more sesame oil to add more flavor. I'm seasoning the ground turkey with some garlic powder, onion powder, and red pepper flakes for spice. If you don't like spice, then you can omit it. And then I also added some freshly cracked black pepper. After the ground turkey cooks, I just pull that off of the stove so I can start on the sauce, and I do it in the same exact pan. So I added some sesame oil and regular soy sauce, and now I'm adding in some extra dark soy sauce and garlic, as well as brown sugar for sweetness. So this sauce is very pungent, so that's why you see me making a teensy weensy bit. I added a little bit of water just to thin it out, and then I'm going to turn up the heat and wait for this to thicken, and that sugar, that brown sugar, will really thicken up the sauce. As you can see, it's much thicker now, and I just added in some fresh lemon juice. And once it's thick like this, like a syrup, that's when you can go ahead and add in your ground turkey and vegetables, and then you just mix it around until it's evenly coated. I fried an over easy egg to go with mine, and I had some leftover jasmine rice, and I put it together, and y'all, this was so bomb. Moving on to Wednesday, which is hump day. One of my favorite types of food is Mexican food. I can have tacos like any time of the day, the week, it does not matter. So I'm starting out with my chicken tacos. I'm cutting up some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I like using chicken thighs more than chicken breasts because chicken thighs are just so juicy and tender, and they stay moist really well, whereas chicken breasts dry out really fast. So I put some butter in my pan, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in my chicken thighs, and then I'm gonna get this seasoned up with my usuals: some black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. This day I actually ran out of taco seasoning, so I'm making my own taco seasoning by adding chili powder, cumin, gram masala, and cayenne pepper. But you can omit all of that and just add in a regular taco packet. So I'm just going to mix this all up, and I like to cook it on high heat so that the chicken can get nice and charred and kind of like black and burnt. That's how I really like it, and it tastes really good that way. And I'm adding some lime juice just for like authenticity and give it like a little bit of zest. It tastes really well, and as you can see, the chicken is starting to brown. In that same pan, I went ahead and cooked up some zucchini. I didn't want to add any more carbs to this dish, so I thought zucchini would just be a great option for a vegetable. I'm gonna show you guys how I like my tacos. So these are just mini street taco tortillas. They're really tiny, and I love them because they're bite-sized. So I'm just adding some fresh salsa. I added some shredded cheddar cheese, some sour cream, and fresh guacamole. And this is how it turned out. So I had 3 little tacos. They were so freaking delicious, y'all. That chicken, the chicken thighs are just so moist and juicy and tender, and the zucchini was great as well. Moving on to Thursday, I decided that I wanted to make some fresh salmon. I love salmon. It's one of my favorite seafoods to eat. And I'm going to steam some broccoli to go on the side. So I just put some water in the bottom of my pot with my steamer, put the lid on, and let that go ahead and steam. So I'm going to season up my salmon fillets. This is fresh Atlantic salmon, and I season it up with salt, pepper, Old Bay, garlic powder, and onion powder. and I'm doing that on both the front and the back sides of the salmon. Make sure you get your salmon skinless. I don't really like the skin, but if it's your thing, hey, you can keep it on, but I took mine off. In a medium high heat pan, I'm gonna just go ahead and add my salmon. This is the Wegmans garlic and cheese brand mashed potatoes, and I just popped that right in the microwave because it takes no time, and I'm cooking that in the microwave while I'm pan searing my salmon. And as you can see, that pan gave it a nice good crust, and this is how my salmon turned out. It was absolutely delicious. You can even put a little pad of garlic butter on top and it's even better. So it's Friday, it's the last day of the week, and I just want to do something very, very simple. So we're doing breakfast for dinner, but I can hardly call this breakfast because shrimp and grits is such a versatile dish. You can have it for breakfast, lunch, brunch, it really doesn't matter. I'm starting out by chopping up some onions and some green peppers, and then I'm also going to chop up some scallions to go on top. I already have my water boiling for my grits, so I'm going to season the water with a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to pour my grits right in and start whisking immediately. And I'm just going to continue to whisk and add water to thin it out until the grits are cooked. I added a lot of butter to this pan because the butter is going to be basically our entire sauce, and I went ahead and started to add in the vegetables. I'm going to season it up with some salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, some cayenne pepper and paprika, as well as Cajun seasoning. So these are Cajun shrimp and grits. I like my shrimp and grits to be a little spicy, but if you don't like that, then definitely go ahead and omit the Cajun seasoning and the cayenne pepper, and paprika will do just fine. So I added a little bit more butter in there because, like I said, it's basically going to be our sauce. And then I'm just going to add in some shrimp and cook the shrimp into that Cajun seasoning. Now to thicken up the sauce, I'm going to add in some heavy cream. It's going to make it creamy and just buttery and delicious. And then I'm going to turn the heat all the way up and just allow this to come to the boil so that the sauce can really thicken up. And just look at it. It is so delicious, y'all. So delicious. Here is how this meal turned out. It's really quick, simple, and effortless. You can't see the grits, but they are definitely tucked up under there, and they were delicious. I really enjoyed making this What's for Dinner video. I hope that you guys enjoy all 5 of these recipes as well. Don't forget, if you recreate any of these recipes, then tag me or DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. I will see you guys next week, same time, same place, different recipe. Bye, guys.